Hello, guys. How's everybody doing? Today's Tommy's birthday. He's 33 today. No presents from anyone.
All right, that's not true. We're going to go ahead and start with questions. We use the raise your hand function, and we'll start with Grant Ramey.
Rick, with 4 games over the next, week and a half or so, how important are these 4 games to figure out rotation and establish some of the rhythm and stuff you're talking about after the game Saturday?
I think it's important. I mean, obviously, we're just hoping we can get them in, and that's the key, that we can play them. And but I do think the more we can play right now, before the last game, we talked about how long it seemed like we had practiced and how long it had been since we had played. And so it's going to be important. These minutes are going to be very, very important. And guys have to understand that it's about us getting better, having great respect for our opponent. And but those minutes aren't going to be given to anybody. They're going to be minutes that are going to be earned starting in practice like today. And that's how we're going to move forward.
Mike Wilson and Rob Lewis.
Yeah, Rick, is there a common trait that you've looked for in a sixth man over the years, or what are the attributes that make someone a valuable sixth or seventh man?
I think once you go to that player, that they really elevate everything. They bring an energy to the court. They're going to make something happen some way, somehow, whether it's offensively or defensively. Versatility. And again, oftentimes that's a guy that, even though he's the quote unquote sixth man, he's a guy that at the end of the game is going to finish the game for you as a starter, because of the fact that he can do so many different things and he can make so many things happen for you.
What make Jaden and Keon good sixth and seventh men, despite the fact that that's not really a role that they've probably been familiar with in the past?
Well, again, the one thing, we talk about it. We don't care who starts. And I think our lineup will change, because we're going to keep really basing it on performance, production, and still trying to figure it out. I mean, we really are still trying to figure out how to get the rotation the right way, where everybody can be most effective. And you find out, but the one thing that has to happen when you settle on who starts, because again, I know people make that a bigger thing than I think that it is when you, I do think it's big with the players. I played and I wanted to be a starter, but now with our guys, you look at the other night, but also when I said I wanted to be a starter, I didn't understand the importance of wanting to be the guy that finished the game more so than the guy that started the game. But when you look at what's going on with the minutes, we're more concerned about that. Guys keeping it between, 26 minutes, 28 minutes. But to answer your question about those two guys, once they figure out everything, do they know the entire scheme, both offensively and defensively? They don't. And that's something that they're going to have to do. I mentioned it earlier. They have been hurt more so by the stoppage and starts than anybody, because the older guys, it's not that we're doing a whole lot of different things than we've done in the past. We maybe bring back stuff here or there, add here, but it's something that most of the older guys have seen, so they've got great recall with it. But the younger guys are still learning just the base package, and as they do that, I can see where, again, I do think their minutes will go up. I don't think there's any question about that. I can see them starting at some point. It could be both of them, one of them, none of them. Again, it's going to go back. And what we've harped on with these guys is just do your job when you go in the game. And players, I've always believed, they will determine who's going to be there. They're going to determine who's going to play the minutes. They're going to determine who's going to finish the game. And I think over these next couple of games before we get into the conference, they're critical to these guys to understand, regardless of who we're playing, it's about us and each and everybody doing their job so we can get to the point where we know what we're going to get night in and night out, where these decisions get a whole lot easier.
Coach, just what have you liked the most about your team in the first 2 games, and what, I don't know, concern is too strong a word. What do you need to get better at? Just each of those areas.
Well, again, I think our defensive effort has been good. We've played 2 really good basketball teams that do some really good schemes. They've got good players, and we knew and we know, because it's no different than what we've done in the past. If we play defense initially the way we should, if we're locked in with our scouting report and doing the things that we're supposed to do, we're going to force teams into driving the ball. And then we've got to be able to guard whoever's in front of you. You got to be able to stay in front of them. We can't let them get on their hips and let them get to the rim and get us into rotations that way. But through the first 2 games, I think we've done a good job for the most part, with 2 games in, doing what we've asked them to do with the scout report. And we talked a lot after the Colorado game because Colorado started driving the ball. We said that Cincinnati's going to drive it, which they did, and we gave up a couple too many straight line drives to the basket. And offensively, we want to get fouled, and we are a strong team, and we're an athletic team. Shooting the ball again. I mean, I've been with these guys too much, and I've seen them, and we keep stats of every day in practice of our shooting, and we've got a nice shooting percentage. But in a game, I still think that some of those guys, or most guys, need to see it go through the basket a couple times, and they'll settle down that way. But what we want to be able to do on nights when we don't shoot the ball well, we proved the other night that we can still win a basketball game against a high-level team, and by doing it different ways. But when it all comes together is what we're working for. But if not, we still want to be a better rebounding team, a consistent rebounding team. We rebounded the ball great the other night, and a little bit better in the Colorado game than the numbers will show. But overall, that's got to be a major emphasis of every single night. We've got to rebound the ball, got to take care of the ball. And the turnovers, I mentioned the other night, the Colorado turnovers didn't hurt us. The other night, our turnovers hurt us, where they were able to convert those. Those are the plays that we have to eliminate. So we take care of the ball better. It's going to help us with our defense. And then we just take good shots. Just take the shots that we practice. Again, I'm confident. I want them to shoot them whether they're going in or not, and then I want us to go get them.
Ryan Shumpert and Ben McGee.
How important are these next 2 weeks and just kind of getting some confidence and comfort level for the big guys behind Pons and Fulkerson and their ability to give you good minutes off the bench?
Well, I mean, it's all important. I mean, these guys want playing time. They want to play, but it goes back. And they get every day in practice, they get a chance to do that. The games, yeah, they're important. But the bottom line is they're not going to get in the game if they don't get it done in practice. And I've told them that over and over. And if they want a chance to have more rope, more leadway in a game, they can't go in a game and do what we see them do in practice. We want the word is consistency. We want to see that. I tell guys, one of the last things I tell them every day, every game, we got do what we practice. Just simply do what we practice, and we're going to be okay. It's again, if guys don't practice well, they're probably not going to get a chance to play as much as they would like to play. So it starts with them understanding, and we want to see that happen in practice. But over these next couple games, I like to get guys minutes in a game. But again, those minutes aren't going to be given out. They're going to be earned minutes. And again, if a guy goes into a game and right off the bat he makes a mistake that we see him make over and over in practice, he won't get much of a chance because he hasn't earned it. And that's what we're about. We don't want anybody to think they have a sense of entitlement. We got too many guys on this team. And again, our team works hard. They work hard. They play hard. And I think they like direct, honest answers. They want to know where they stand. And the way I'm talking to you is the way I'm going to talk to them. If they want those minutes, they're going to have to earn them.
Coach, Devante Gaines has not played in the first 2 games. Has he been available? And if he has, what does he need to do in practice to earn those minutes that you continue to talk about?
Going back to the word consistency, what are we going to get? Does he understand the scheme with everything we do, shooting the ball? Again, we want to, guys that we know, we just know what they're going to do. It goes back to consistency. For the guys that you haven't seen play, that's the word that I would put with all of them, consistency. The guys that are playing have shown more of a consistent type performance day in and day out where we have an idea. And that's not to say they're perfect, but the other guys, the ones that haven't played, are guys that are way too inconsistent, guys that probably get their names called too much in practice for not doing the right thing. And there's not a guy on this team that we don't believe in, that we don't think can get better. And some guys want to be stubborn. Some guys want to keep fighting it. If they keep fighting the system, they won't play. I mean, it's plain and simple. We got a proven formula here that we believe in, and the quicker guys buy into it, the quicker they'll play.
Vince and Wes Rucker.
Rick, what have you seen from Viscovie in terms of defense, getting off ball screens, some of those intangibles besides just the offense? Where's he made strides in your opinion?
Well, I think the big thing with him, he's deceptive. I mean, people like, I think when you look at certain guys on the team, they get down guard. That's impressive. But he's a very deceptive, very intelligent defender. Same thing offensively. Terrific with pass fakes, ball fakes. Quicker than you think. Understands angles better than most guys. But defensively, again, he understands the mental preparation. He understands what he needs to do. He does his work early, very clever in the gaps. He's in that gap and you think he's kind of just there, but he's playing. He's active in the gaps most of the time. And offensively, he has a solid idea of what we're trying to get done. And what's good about him, I think as time goes on, it's going to give him a chance to play off the ball too, which I think will help him because he's so good with moving without the ball. And, so I think as these guys, again, it's more that we can get guys settled in, handling the ball where he can get away from. It's going to help him add to his game.
Rick, I know it's a small sample size, but from a couple games, Eve hadn't, maybe the numbers aren't particularly great, the efficiency, but it looks like the shots he's taken are mostly okay unless you've seen it differently. What have you seen from him? Is he pressing at all or is it just a small sample size?
Probably pressing a little bit because, again, he's one of those guys. He's a perfectionist. He puts so much time into the game, and he works at it. I mean, like, I don't think you can work any harder, to be quite frank. And but he'll make it. He'll get it going. You guys have watched him over time, and he rebounded well the first game. I didn't think he had the same mindset rebounding the second game as he needs to. Maybe that's pressing a little bit because he went 1 for 9 in the first game, but he'll be fine. We don't worry about Eve because he's going to give you everything he's got, and there's not a better fix-it guy in the country. I mean, it's things that he cleans up and the things that he does defensively that a lot of people don't notice are really valuable to our team.
Nicholas Hill and Trey Wallace.
Coach, just for the first two games, how would you evaluate your fast break offense and how important moving forward is continuing to improve that aspect of your offense for your team?
Well, our fast break offense is being good, can be a whole lot better. And I don't know what the second part of the question, what'd you say?
Just how important is it to continue improving that aspect of your offense for your team moving forward?
Well, it's important because, we want to be an attack team. We want to play, really good defense and get out and, like any team in the country, get as many, opportunities in the open court as we can. Try to, play some advantage basketball where we got numbers based on the other team. And we've been okay with it, shown some good signs, but there's so much more that comes with our transition game that we've shown that, again, it's a matter of getting everybody to understand it, but we want to advance it quick. Obviously, we love to get it down the floor as quick as we can, but we want to play out of it. If not, we want to be able to flow where it looks like, hey, we're attacking. Guys are using their ability, but if they don't have it, they're drop spots and where they need to get the ball, then they need to space out where we can keep playing. We just don't want to do a lot of standing around. And the last two games, we've had to go up against zone more than we probably thought. Certainly in the first game, but we've spent some time with it today because Charlotte will do a little 3/4 court 1-2-2 press back to a 2-3 zone. We expect to see that, and we just got to continue to work our zone offense. But the fast break is so important to us. Whether and teams are going to work to take it away from us. There's no doubt about it. But we still think we can get it, and we certainly have to fight to get it, and we'll continue to do that.
Rick, what did you think about going back and look at the game tape, the last few games? What did you think about the shot selection that you guys were taking, especially when the opposing teams were switching into zone? And then also your thoughts on EJ Anasicki, especially last game when he entered the game.
Well, the first game, we had open shots against Colorado in the zone, not exactly in the spot of the floor, like instead of 15-foot jumpers, we want that 8-10-foot jumper against the zone in the middle of the zone, but they weren't bad shots. They were shots that guys practice. I don't have a problem. Probably my biggest problem is guys turning down good shots and then having to settle for one that's not as good. That's what we've talked. We're open. We want to shoot the ball. And, again, I think that's, again, maybe settling in here as the season gets started. And EJ, he's going to bring the energy. He's a guy that, again, he's terrific coming off the bench because he's going to rebound. He's going to work hard. He's going to work as hard as he can on both ends to do things the right way. He's going to try to make the right plays on the defensive end. And he had a couple mistakes on rotations the other night defensively, but it was all because of just great effort, just trying to, help his teammate, try to make the next play. And offensively, I think he'll continue to, figure out how to play. He's at a different level now with taller players, bigger players, and he probably is used to playing against all along. But he's a guy that, again, he's going to keep getting better and better just because he works so hard at it. And a guy that when he comes in the game, again, we have a pretty good idea of what we know he's going to bring to us.
Gustavo and Grant Ramey.
Coach, today Tennessee basketball is ranked number 10 in the AP poll. The last time Tennessee was in the top 10 was by the end of the 2018-2019 season. How do you see Tennessee getting back to the top 10 team in the country?
Well, I don't know if rankings matter right now. I don't. We think about we played 2 games. Some other teams have played 5, 6 games. And it's not something, we don't talk about rankings. We talk about getting better. All we'll say about rankings is when you have a number in front of your name, it becomes an even bigger game for your opponent because they got a chance to build a resume with it. But with that said, our whole philosophy is, hey, we're going to talk about getting better and what do we need to do to improve it. Every area, every player get better. It's great, again, notoriety for our program. It's great notoriety for our players. I think they understand if you're going to be that kind of opponent, you better be ready to bring it every single night. And that's what helps you when you do have that ranking. Because if you aren't tough enough mentally and physically to be ready to play every single night, you're going to get beat. It's plain and simple whether you got a number there or not. But I think the great thing about being a ranked team is to see how guys handle it when people are going to give you their best shots night in and night out.
Rick, when you mentioned EJ Anastegui needs to adjust offensively given the competition, how does he need to adjust? What needs to change for him against taller opponents, different opponents?
One, he needs to slow down a little bit. He's playing a little bit, and he's got to get back to fighting for his space on the floor where he wants it. But he's going to have to play above the rim. He's going to have to fight. He's used to, I'm sure, just throwing his body into people and knocking them off and finishing. And he can't finish. He's got to again adjust to it's a more physical game and he's not afraid to be physical. Don't get me wrong, but he's being guarded in ways that he's never been guarded night in and night out. And so he's going to learn how to deal with that himself. But I would say for all those post guys, other than Folky, probably it's all about doing your work early, knowing where you want the ball on the floor, getting your feet organized, ready to play when you catch the ball, as opposed to standing there like, what's next? I think that all those EJ, I think that Olivier Uros, all those guys need to understand if they get themselves ready to play especially with the guard penetration we're getting right now, they're going to get to do a lot of things with the ball because they're going to be able to. The balls will be passed to them, and so but they've got to get their feet organized, and those 3 guys are still learning how to do that at a consistent level.
Wes Rucker, Rob Lewis.
Rick, I guess a lot of us think about, kind of how a freshman or a newcomer accepts his role on the team or understands his role. But can the same be said for an upperclassman? I mean, every year you get new guys coming into a team. Every year is its own year, and every team's its own team. Can it be tough for veterans to kind of find their roles too early in the season?
Can it be tough? Yeah, I think that we're all early in the year trying to figure it out. But when you got an unselfish group of guys, and we have a very unselfish group of guys, I think our guys really have great respect for the work that we put into our program. And I think they understand that there's no one that doesn't work harder. There's guys that work harder, absolutely. Are there guys that put more time in others? Absolutely. And older guys, the more versatile they can become, the more effective they can be for you. like I've watched Josiah now, where he's getting to the point where he can play almost anywhere on the floor, which is going to help him in so many different ways. And is he going to have to play a different role? He's going to do a little bit of everything. I mean, he did it last year. He didn't have the advantage of having someone in it when things weren't going well for the most part. He had to stay out there and get those lessons taught the hard way. And I don't think we have a team that we have to do that with this year, but I do know that he is going to buy into whatever he needs to do. EJ will. Got to get Olivier going to the point where we know how good he can be, and he hasn't figured it out yet. He's last 2 days he's been better, but a big part of it is sometimes when you're coaching guys, you're talking about play role. It simply gets back to buying in to the program, what you have to do. I mean, Grant Williams, when he started out, we went through all the same things with him until he realized that this is how you got to do certain things. And then once you get a couple things down, then you can build on it. But it still goes back to that word, whatever role guys play in, they've got to show consistency where they understand what we are trying to get done as a team every possession. Because we have a saying, every possession matters. And we need them to, and the guys that play the most minutes understand that simple fact that every possession matters, both offensively and defensively.
Coach, how do you evaluate Keon and Jaden through 2 games? Both their minutes went way up on Saturday. What did you feel like they got better at?
Well, I think sometimes as coaches, we maybe can overthink it. Going into Colorado's a tough opener, and we knew it was going to be a high stakes game. And you don't want to put those guys in a position where they don't have some success early because you don't want to lose them for a week, whatever, where they keep it in the back of their mind. And I think what we learned about those guys is, one, they have short memories, which is a good thing. And the second thing is the second game. And again, you got to look at me for this is, we should have subbed earlier. And I knew going in the game the other night against Cincinnati that we were going to get 2-3 guys in the game before the 16-minute mark. And I think you'll see that pattern continuing. I think, again, right now, unless I change my mind between now and tomorrow, we'll start the same way. But that doesn't mean the game after that we're going to start another way, and the game after that another way. It's just we're still searching through some of these things. But again, that was my decision the first game to try to, I don't want to say baby anybody, but, just try to make sure that we try to, we didn't want to get them out there at the same time together. We just wanted to get some young guys with older guys. And the other night we just said, hey, we're just going to put 2 guys out there at one time and go. And then, again, try to get 3 guys in before the 16-minute mark. And normally that means Fulkerson is going to come out. We're going to try to use the timeouts to give him a little bit, get him out around the 16, 30, 45 mark and let him use that plus the timeout and get him back in and work him down like that. So the whole thing is, that we can be the freshest, most competitive we can be in the last 6 minutes of the game. We don't want to be tired. We want to be running full speed then. We want to be guarding at a high level then. And we want to do that. We got to manage the minutes and in the first half and the first part of the second half.
We're going to finish up with Ryan Shumpert and then Mike Wilson.
What have you seen from Appalachian State scouting those guys?
They had a really nice road win the other night at Charlotte. I mean, they really did. They really well-coached team. They I think predominantly want to play man-to-man, even though I mentioned they've have a little 3/4 court press back to a 2-3 zone, which I could see that coming at some point in time. We've worked on it today, and so we'll be better against the zone, I think, because and it's not like we've been bad against it. I mean, we've won 2 games against 2 teams that do a pretty good job of their zone defense. But I love their offense. They open it up. They sometimes will have a 5-out type spread motion offense where they like to play off the elbows and do some nice little scissor actions sort of where they do some good things. 2 guards shooting the ball really well, and they've got a guy that again I think they feel that they can go through just like we do with Fulkerson. But again, really well coached team, and like I said, they're coming off a nice road win at UNC Charlotte.
Rick, are you guys all clear with having everyone eligible, or have you had any more positive tests come back?
No, we're good. We're good to go. Other than, I think Tom, we're starting to test him for things other than the COVID. But otherwise, Tom, are you okay?
I'm doing well. And I appreciate everybody accommodating the time change today. Coach ate something that really disagreed with his stomach. So he's battling some diarrhea and has to go get a cleanse this afternoon. So we appreciate everyone, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys at the arena on Tuesday.
Hey, let him
Well played, Tom. Well played.
let him wish Dom a happy birthday.